Let me guess. You woke up this morning and you thought to yourself, you know what I want to search on YouTube? I want to search my greatest fears and desires because that's what I want to explore today. Well, you're welcome. You have found the right spot. In all seriousness, talking about our greatest fears and desires is not the most interesting or pleasant topic to talk about. But it's also really important to understanding how our personality creates our motivation and how our motivation creates our behaviors. And today we're going to talk about the core motivations for every Enneagram type. First, a major shout out to my man, Sanjeev Berry. Sanjeev is not only a close personal friend, he's a mentor, and he is an unbelievable leader in the emotional intelligence and leadership space. I was having a great conversation with him and discussing the Enneagram, how it is a personality assessment, but how there is a significant difference between personality and behavior. Too often we use these personality assessments to uncover our behavior when that's just not the case. We can use tools like the Enneagram to understand our personality and understand how we can shift our behavior in order to get the goals that we want. If you are not emotionally intelligent, if you are not in the process of self-development, then your behaviors might be completely unaware to you. And you might not know why you're creating conflict in the world around you. So let's talk about the core motivations of every Enneagram type. And if you don't know your Enneagram, I'm going to put a link in the bio to the absolute best Enneagram test. And if you need access to that, please contact me. I got you covered. So first, we have type 1, the perfectionist. The core motivation of a type 1 is to be perfect. It's also to avoid any mistakes. Type 1s might see my video and see minor typos or little slip-ups or broken links and think, no way, no thank you. This person is not perfect, not right, not accurate, so therefore they are not credible. And that's an example of the pitfall of an Enneagram 1, is that their behavior can be very judgmental, not just to others, but also to themselves, especially when things aren't as perfect or as right as they think. Type 2 is the helper, and their core motivation is to serve, to be liked and appreciated. This is the core motivation that I have the most difficult time relating to. Enneagram 2s will create an environment where you feel supported, where you feel taken care of, but they'll usually do that in a manipulative way. Now, before you make any judgments about manipulation, make sure that you check out my video about what manipulation is and what it's not. But an Enneagram 2's behavior can be very manipulative as they take score of all of the nice things that they've done for other people and expect the same in return. Type 3, the achiever. The core motivation of the achiever is to be successful and admired. What a great core motivation. The motivation of this Enneagram type gets results, but they do so at a cost. You see, Enneagram 3s can be chameleons. They can shape shift into any environment to make sure that they are the most successful and they are the most recognized in any space. Type 4, the individualist. The core motivation of the individualist is to be unique and authentic. Side note, a lot of times Enneagram 4s really struggle to connect with the Enneagram because they see that they are not the only one who experiences the emotions that they do. And because the Enneagram shows them that they're not unique, then they easily dismiss the results. And this is a pattern of behavior that gets in their way. They let their emotions, they let their feelings, they let their approaches to the world dictate exactly what actions they need to take or can't take. In other words, they get stuck in their emotions over and over again. Type 5s are the investigator. Their core motivation is to understand and conquer the world around them through that understanding. Now, again, this is a fantastic skill to have. However, Enneagram 5s will oftentimes hold to themselves. They are very protective of their own energy, and they see knowledge as currency. As a result, they're oftentimes reserved and selfish with what they know because they don't want to give that knowledge away freely. Type 6 is the loyalist, and their core motivation is to be safe and secure. They want to avoid all uncertainty and be prepared for every situation. Now, as with all Enneagram types, that's a great motivator and that's a great result. Of course, we want to be prepared. However, the behavior that usually comes out of an Enneagram 6 is that they are overly cautious to the point of paranoia, and that holds them back from taking action on the things that they want results in, as well as taking action in relationships. Because the Enneagram 6 is a skeptic, it takes a long, long time to develop actual authentic trust with other human beings. So they might seem reserved or suspicious of you until you gain their trust. The Enneagram 7, their core motivation is to be free and to experience new things. Now, who wouldn't want to have an Enneagram 7 at their workplace or their party? They are literally the life of the party. But because they are consistently seeking joy, they're going to find any shiny new thing that might possibly, potentially lead to joy. As a result, they have a really difficult time being finishers. They start a lot, but they don't move it to completion. Enneagram 8, the challenger. The core motivation of the challenger is to be in control. However, the drawback to an Enneagram 8 is that they can be bulldozers in order to maintain control. They will protect themselves and others at all costs, which sounds great for a movie trailer, but all costs sometimes goes to the extreme. And finally, type 9s, the peacemaker. The core motivation of a type 9 is to keep the peace, both within themselves and outside of themselves. Again, what a fantastic quality to have until Enneagram 9s take it too far. They can become doormats to conflict and really not speak up their own stories, not speak up their own needs and desires for the sake of the group. Which one of these core motivations resonated with you the most? I'm going to give you a hint. The one that you felt the most resistance to, the one that you felt was, no, that's 100% not me, and you had this little fire burning in your belly of anger at Eric Dominguez for daring to speak out your specific motivation and behavior, that's probably the one. Now, understanding these core motivations, your personality, can not just help us understand why we do the things that we do, but how we can grow from the things that we do, how we can shift our behaviors that align to our personality authentically so that we can maximize our life and meet our greatest goals. Again, make sure that you hit subscribe, as we will be posting more content on the Enneagram, confidence, communication, storytelling, and how you can speak up your story for, again, the maximum results.